along with the nearby Claremont School of Theology, boasted a powerhouse faculty in New Testament and related fields of study. In this faculty were Hans Dieter Betz, William Brownlee, Burton Mack, James Robinson, James Sanders, and John Trevor. Professor Betz chaired the Hellenism and the New Testament seminar, which was favored with visits from Ronald Hawk and Edward O'Neill, both on the faculty of the University of Southern California. During this time, the seminar was finishing its work on Plutarch and just launching its work on the Greek magical papyri. Betz impressed me greatly with his high standards and attention to detail. His commentaries on Galatians and the Sermon on the Mount in the Hermeneia commentary series are impressive and well respected. Professor Robinson chaired the Nag Hammadi seminar, dedicated to the publication and study of the Coptic Gnostic codices found in Nag Hammadi, Egypt. I found his enthusiasm for fresh research, discovery, and publishing infectious. Entering Claremont was like walking into a publishing factory. I was overwhelmed by the activity. During my time with the Nag Hammadi seminar, I became acquainted with Charles Hedrick, who taught me Coptic, and Marvin Mayer, who now is the research director for the Coptic Magical Texts Project at Claremont Graduate University and an expert on Gnostic texts. Professor Mack was, in those days, engrossed in Philo and Jewish wisdom traditions. He was at that time a warm-hearted Christian scholar. I distinctly recall him in 1977 telling me how happy he was that I was serving on the staff of a nearby church. "That is really good," he said. "What we need are more doctors of the church." Times change, and so do some people. Professor Brownlee was wonderful to work with. He was quiet, gentle, and unassuming, yet he was one of the very first scholars to lay eyes on the Dead Sea Scrolls. He was in Jerusalem doing a year of postdoctoral studies in 1947 to 1948, when the first cave containing scrolls was discovered. His studies in the Book of Ezekiel and the ancient Ugaritic language were set aside. Brownlee brought one of the scrolls back with him to Duke University in the fall of 1948 so he could use it in teaching Hebrew. That, of course, is no longer allowed. He published an early study of the Rule Scroll, 1QS, and spent much of his career analyzing Qumran's commentary, or Pesher, on the Book of Habakkuk. I found him delightful to work with, and eventually finished my doctoral dissertation under his supervision. It was from Brownlee that I learned much about the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it was with him that I studied Aramaic and Syriac. His sudden death in 1983 left me an academic orphan, and ended plans that we had made for collaborative studies in Isaiah and Daniel. I also had the privilege of making the acquaintance of John Trevor, Bill Brownlee's longtime friend. Trevor was with Brownlee in Jerusalem in 1947 to 1948, and it was he who took the very first and quite excellent photographs of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Trevor was also happy to give me a guided tour of his collection of photographs and artifacts, explaining where they were found and their significance. Although I was very close to Brownlee, the person who influenced me the most at Claremont was Professor Sanders, who joined the faculty in 1977, the year my doctoral studies commenced. It would be almost impossible to exaggerate the significance of his contribution to my understanding of biblical literature and its full context. Sanders introduced me to the versions of Scripture, such as the Old Greek, or Septuagint, and the Aramaic, or Targum. He led me through the rabbinic literature, taught me to appreciate rabbinic midrash, and transformed textual criticism, the study of ancient manuscripts and their diverse readings and variants, into a joy. Under his instruction, my appreciation of Scripture grew. Over the years, we have collaborated on a number of publishing projects, and jointly chaired from 1989 to 1996